So we just got 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody for this webinar where we're gonna talk about driver-based modeling.
Yeah.
How maybe the business logic is trapped in spreadsheets. We see that quite a bit. My name is Stig Sandvik. I'm the VP Product.
Yeah.
And with me I have
Jon Gilje, and I work with product as product manager and with pre-sale in Hypergene.
Excellent. Let's just get rolling.
Yeah.
Just a practical thing. If you guys want to have a larger screen, you can click on the right bottom to make it a little bit bigger, especially when we go into the application.
Yeah.
Then that may be easier to see some of the numbers and what we're clicking. Just a quick overview of what Hypergene is. Many may know us as Profitbase, and some of the attendees know us and our customers and our others as well. Hypergene is a Swedish company, bought Profitbase a year ago. Offices in 11 locations, 250 employees, and we work within budgeting, forecasting, performance management, reporting, consolidation, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's quick about Hypergene. So we're just going to start up with a poll, just to kind of see where we are. So what is your biggest frustration with spreadsheet-based planning? So if that poll, give that a minute, and then we will look at the answers. Let's go for the next. So if the attendees can just click on, I think they will have that on the screen. So we asked the CFOs, 430 or so CFOs in the fall on what would you use the 10 extra hours if you had, and one of the things that came out as the biggest thing is how you strengthen the collaboration between finance and operation. I think driver-based modeling is kind of part of that equation. How do you make operational input to finance? So that's a little bit part of this webinar to address how we can support that.
Yeah.
Let's see on the result. Let me see here on the poll. So we have version control, chaos is kind of one thing that's kind of sticks out. Manual consolidation errors as well as can't run scenarios, and no link on P&L. So version control is definitely one that's sticks out, especially on if you have a spreadsheet-based planning. So let's see how that actually links into driver-based modeling as well. And that's kind of this slide where you have your spreadsheet-driven FP&A, where you have all the collection of the data, maintaining spreadsheets, version of that, and spending quite a lot of time on that portion versus interacting with decision makers, doing analysis and do value-added work. So I think that's kind of...
and version control is something that we have strong functionality for in our solution, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but we're going to touch into the into the subject. Yeah. Okay, so next slide.
So a little bit kind of where we are offering in the CFO platform. So you will see some of the core solutions here, so like budgeting, forecasting, risk, consolidation, treasury. So treasury is one of the acquisition that was done by Hypergene a couple of months ago with Escali, where we have a very strong treasury and asset management solution as well. So just to mention that. What we're going to focus on today is budgeting, forecasting, and driver-based modeling only as part of this webinar. So just to give a little bit context.
And what we see here is that driver-based modeling is a module within the solution, budget and forecasting.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, so what is budget and forecasting, or profit-based budget and forecasting? It's a solution that lets organization and finance department plan with different input modules. Driver-based models will be one of those, to build up a complete profit and loss statement for the organization. And then the solution will auto-generate the full general ledger, future general ledger, so you can get both the balance sheet and the cash flow based on the input in the profit and loss. So you get a full financial statement based on a planning process in the profit and loss.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's an important thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that auto-generated.
Yeah. So we're getting to the Driverbased model was just going into the dig into the different layers now.
So another poll. So just to see how familiar the audience are on driver-based model. So if we launch that poll. And of course, what you could use as a tool could be even spreadsheets. It could be many, types of tool.
Yeah.
So we go to the next one before we reveal the answer.
Okay, so how we define Driverbased model, at least, is that you use, instead of doing input directly on accounts, you use operational factors to build up your budgets or your forecasts. So you have different drivers that can be headcount, number of sold units, volume, and so on. You have a model that where you have different rules, where you link the different values, the operational factors into financial outcomes. And in the end, you will then get a full P&L. And as we already talked about, also get generated the balance sheet and the cash flow based on the input done on operational factors. Yeah. And what we see is that most organization or many organizations that we talk to already does this today, but they do it in a less effective way, or they do it, many of them do it in spreadsheets that has some...
there's some challenges with that, just put it that way. Good. Let me see on the answer we just had to see how familiar they are. It's kind of a mixed from kind of 1/3. So anything from we use it to we heard about it and haven't implemented and it's new to me. So I think the audience is kind of split to familiar to not familiar. So that's the reason why we're doing a little bit introduction to what it is. And then we're going to go into the solution to see how we set it up. But that's good to know. So if we go to the next one.
Yeah, and this is an example of what we see many organizations, or how we see many organizations works today, is that you have different business units that does input in spreadsheets based on their operational factors. The finance department often needs to prepare and do the send out of these spreadsheets, chase the returns of the spreadsheets, consolidate them into one consolidated profit and loss. But it takes days to do this.
Many versions.
It's difficult to have maybe control to know that you have the right version when you do the consolidation, and errors may slip unnoticed when doing the consolidation. Yeah,
this is a typical process, but even if you have a tool, that may not be effective on this one.
Yeah.
So we take the next one here.
Yeah.
So this one is kind of one key. One of the answer was kind of challenging with simulation, kind of scenario building. What if type question that you get maybe from the board? How do you able to do that if you're running a spreadsheet operation kind of on this process? And then what I call is the kind of shadow accounting that happens in the operation. It could be on department, it could be on a legal entity units or something like that. They may have assumptions that they build into their spreadsheet. It could be, here's an example of inflation, so FX rates and so forth. And then what they deliver is the end result of that exercise to the group level.
Yeah.
What that means is the group level is only seeing the end result. So if they want to do simulation on, okay, if the FX rate is going to be this, so the inflation is going to be X, or this input, portion that is also going across multiple units, they cannot simulate on that. They need to go back and ask them to do a recalculation and bring back the net number. So the transparency on the assumption set in the input is lacking, to put it that way. So that means that you will not be able to do this what if scenario in an effective way.
Yeah, and even if you don't need to do a what if analysis, it's difficult to know that every department have used the same assumption. Just on the baseline of your budget or forecast.
Exactly. Yeah. So some is calculating that salary change is going to be X for that, and then somebody else is going to do something else. So it's not a joint one. Good.
Okay. So the solution, how does the driver-based model work? Well, the setup in our solution is that you start with your drivers, where input users will do their main input. And the drivers will be the factors that move the business or have the major effect on the financial result. Then you build the engine or the model where you add assumptions, calculations, distribution keys to do the math for you, so you don't need to do this manually. The model will also transform the input or calculation into financial transactions, so you map different measures to accounts. You can also add to transactions, so you can have to let the model do even more for you. And then in the end, you will have a live plan, P&L, that gets input from the different modules. And also when rolling forward, if you go from budget to forecast, you will have these models with you. So you don't need to back to version management or version control. You will have the same models, the same forecast, the same assumptions with you when you roll it forward for next plan period.
And then you can change it without affecting the original one.
Yeah.
That's good.
So how does this look? Well, one important feature that we should mention is that in organizations there will be different business areas. You have maybe someone that do input on the sales, you have HR, you have IT department, marketing, so some different business area that also needs different driver-based models, because they have different operational factors that they need to relate to when doing input in the budget.
Or it could just be a business unit that have all of them, and then that business unit has a different type of sales versus another.
Exactly.
So it's could be a department like this, or it could be just different legal entities running different type of businesses, and then
some sell units and some sell hours. People. Common to all of these different modules is that they will, in the end, get financial transactions. So you start to build up the profit and loss, and you get balance sheet and cash flow from
derived from it.
From the solution. So each function works on its own, in its own operational language. It gets handled by the drive-based models.
I think that's the key also, to make most of the people that's doing the business is not finance people, right? You want to own it out in the business, and if what they look at is not accounts, it's like FTEs or sold units or kind of invoiceable hours or whatever. So making that operational inputs and still derive the financial output that finance needs to consolidate the P&L is kind of the key thing. And that means that the ownership is much easier in the organization if they have that kind of how they run the business instead of kind of having accounts and remember to have VAT into it or whatever when it's get paid or whatnot. So so that's a key with a driver-based model to make it operational.
Ownership is a key factor in getting good financial plans or forecasts. And the models then convert operational activities into financial impact. And everything, that's something important as well, that everything lands in one integrated financial plan. It's not manually copy-paste, as we talked about in the spreadsheet setup. This is handled by the solution on its own. And one last thing is that you can have cascading models. So output in one can be transferred as input in another model.
This is kind of cool, but just explain a little bit more.
Yeah. So glad you asked, because I have a slide on it. So this is a setup on how it can look, and the setup is that you have 3 different modules. You have one that calculate COGS, one that calculates sales, and one that have FTE, number of employees. So you start with a COGS model where you have different kind of drivers or assumptions, so a mix of components, component cost, waste, and production cost, and so on. And the output will be cost of goods sold percentage. That calculation or that measure will then be transferred to the sales model.
When the sales people doing the input there, then they have the COGS already calculated from the other model.
So in the sales model, then they will get the sales revenue, but they will also get calculated COGS based on sales or expected sales activity. So again, there's no manual transfer of different assumption. It's handled by the solution, but by having these cascading models. And in the last model, you have some model of number of employee that may be driven based on expected activity. So if sales volume, increase, you need to hire more.
And this is very important and cool, because this is often how it runs the business. Then it's important, obviously, it's when you have the different models, that the model 1 needs to be completed before the model 2 is doing the inputs, because it's kind of an assumptions into the next model and then the next one. But doing this correctly, then you have a very robust way of doing the modeling and the driver-based model.
And you can have more models connected than these 3, or you can have less. But common for them all is that they feed the P&L with input, transactional input. Okay.
So the last poll for today is how the organization handle changes in shared assumptions like FX rate and headcount. So let's see how that's done today for the people on the call. And it's do they have a model centrally? Do they maintain it spreadsheets kind of locally, or assumptions spread around, and then, or we don't use assumption at all? So that's the 4 options there. So let's give it a couple of seconds. Let's see here. Again, 1/3 on each of them. So some have central models, but a lot are scattered around the different spreadsheets into the organization, or they don't. They rarely update the assumption mid-year if the budget set. And that could be many reasons. It could be because the assumption doesn't change, or it's a big exercise to do it. So they just keep the assumption and then do variable reporting based on the end result, and then do some adjustment. Maybe not the most accurate, but it can work depending on how impactful it is. But it's interesting overview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Then we're going into the cooler stuff. How does this look?
The solution.
Yeah.
So what we see here is the plan overview. That's the P&L where you build up your budget or forecast. So in this case, we see budget 2026 with an example of the P&L where you do the input. On the left, well, we're not going to do a large introduction of the solution itself, but just something that we should mention is that you have the department structure or operational structure on the left side. We based on that structure, or it's based on that structure you do the input. So on the lowest level, you select, and then you get the P&L for that specific department. And the numbers will be aggregated or consolidated immediately, or automatically and immediately. So when you do input on the lowest level in this structure here, for example, profit weights C, the numbers will all instantly be aggregated on the top level as well. Yeah.
So you can follow through the process, and obviously, eventually you close it, and then you have the total number. Locked in.
Some few words about the P&L. So you have different report lines. Each line will be mapped to different accounts, and then you'll see that you get both the actuals from ERP system into the solution, but also the plan numbers will then be mapped to the different report lines.
And you even have a top down there, just as an example of something that's maybe done on an aggregated level as a guiding.
Yeah. So that's another budget process or a start of the budget process where you've done a top level budget. So we have the
targets is there.
Targets for the different departments. Okay, so and when you do input, you need to select different input modules to do input. You can have different input modules for different departments, and you can have different modules for different rows in the P&L. So when doing input on operating income, you can have one model, and when doing input on salary employees, you can have a different module.
So when we talk about models, we talk about driver-based model in this context, right?
Yeah. So different modules for different purpose. Selecting modules, you can either click the row or you can go into this drop-down list here. So I already select some of them that we would like to show you today. So this is the first one, where you have a driver-based model based on product sales. You do input based on the year total or month by month. And you see also here that we have different dimensions you can select when doing input. So in this case, we have product and customer, and then you do the input on sales quantity. How many units do you expect to sell during the next year?
And just as a kind of an example, many of you that use spreadsheet today have a type of model in some kind of shape or form today. So it's a mold this model into a more robust aggregation, assumption set, and so forth. So a lot of knowledge is already in that type of business that doing the forecasting and budgeting today.
But what many of the spreadsheets may be missing is the link to the P&L. So what we can see here, based on the input on a number of expected units sold, you will get a financial report where you see you have different transactions on different accounts. So based on these, I think it was this 8,000 units, you'll see you will have some expected product income, cost of work in progress, and then we have some KPIs mapped to dummy accounts.
And why do you have that?
We see that many it would be useful for many companies or customers to see what's how the different input or drivers are affecting the P&L. So you can also map these KPI accounts or dummy accounts into the P&L. So when looking at the P&L, either for one department or the organization as a total, you can also see the operational factors in that P&L.
So typical for reporting purposes, you will kind of build them into view it.
So then the question is, how do you get from this input on number of units sold to these financial transaction?
So what's the bridge?
What's the bridge? And the bridge is the model, and we can look at it. It's also available from this input view here. So here we can see the model that does the calculation. So we
For
have,
this example.
For this example, yeah. So here you have sales quantity as that's the driver. You have sales price and discount. These can either be set centrally, or you can let input user do override of the different assumptions.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can steer that when you're setting up the model. What?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you get calculated some sales income, and you see the COGS percentage. That could have, in this case, it's plot into the input, but it can also be calculated in a different driver-based model.
So it comes in.
Yeah. And then you get calculated the COGS based on the sales, and then you have the different units, either in units sold or unit based by tons. Metrics, different metrics.
So this is a relatively simple kind of model in itself. So some has simple models, some has quite extensive models, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we can look into a different setup. That this is for basic consulting, as we've called it, where you do input on FTEs.
Yeah.
So here we have
full-time equivalents. So how many people you have?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we can also see here that you have the possibility to import actuals, not just on financial transactions, but also on operational value. So in this case, you can see, okay, the last 12 months, we had 5.5 FTEs. For the next year, we expect to have 5 FTEs throughout the year. Again, you can look at the financial transactions. So quite simple. You have 3 different accounts that's mapped to the Drive-based model. And looking at the module, you can also see this is as well is quite simple. But you can see here that you have the last 12 months actuals for the different measures, some of them at least. And doing input, it's the same setup. You have a Drive-based model, you have some assumption, and then you get calculated in the end gross consulting revenue, and then you also get some direct expense linked up to supplies and travel expense, for example.
Yeah, so you have a combination of assumptions, input,
and calculations.
Yeah, exactly. In the model.
But again, this is quite simple. So it's not a lot of transactions or calculation that's been made, and input is also quite easy to handle.
Yeah. So if you go to periods there, then you can do input on specific periods.
Exactly. So if you expect that there will be an increase after summer, you can say, okay,
7 people.
7 people increase with 2 people, and you can just drag it out like this.
And then good to go. Calculate it, you get all the financial impact of that.
Yeah, increase. And then the P&L will be updated immediately. Okay, so these are 2 quite simple examples of a drive-based model. The last one we would like to show is some more advanced or more a bigger model. Again, it's based on consulting revenue, FTEs. Here you also have the possibility to do input on individuals. So each employee can be tagged.
Projects there and
if you look at financial transactions, we see there's more transactions that are mapped to this module. And if we then look at the model itself, we see that we have a lot more details in this model than the previous 2. So here you
still doing input on just one in essence.
Yeah,
and you don't have to go in here, but the finance department may have set up kind of a full model. So
I'm not going to go into details on this, but what we can see is that all of the different assumptions are locked in this model. So it's not possible for the input user to override the different assumptions. The calculations will be handled based on input and assumptions set from administrator centrally. Yeah.
So it's a big, yeah.
And the last thing we would like to show on Drive-based model is how the setup.
Yeah.
Because that's one important aspect as well, is that this is not something that's being built in the back end. It's in the front end. Admin or super users are able to do manage the existing Drive-based models, or they can build new ones, copy from existing ones to change when needed.
Yep.
And the setup is in this driver-based modeling workbook.
Yeah.
On the left side, we can see that there's a lot of different modules
in our
drive-based models built.
In our demo environment.
This is the demo environment. Yes, exactly. So yeah, but the same goes for our customer. You can have many different models.
So you have from 0 to what is the most model you have seen in a customer setup?
I think we are close to 30, 40
30, 40 models.
But, yeah, but then there can be some small ones, small modules, as we've seen. It can be even simpler. That's just input, assumptions, and calculation, and then that's it. But the thing is, as we have already talked about, is different business activity, business areas should do input on their operational factors. So
if you have a large organization with 30 legal entities that doing different types of businesses, you immediately maybe have several models for each business unit, and then that adds up, and you need to manage them. And then you have a place where you're managing all the models.
Exactly.
An assumption across.
Yeah. So this is the product sales, the setup of the product sales Drive-based model that was the first one we saw. So we have different measures here, and you tag the different measures and say if it should be a driver, if it's possible to do input.
So if you don't have input, you cannot overwrite. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. So then it's set by admin only. You can set different assumptions. And you have calculation, and calculation can be quite easy. It can be plus, minus, divide, and multiply, but you can also have more advanced calculation, what if, thresholds, and so on.
Like bonuses. If you reach certain things, then you get this bonus percentage versus this. So you can have and anything in between.
What we can also show is that for drivers, for example, you can set plan proposal.
Okay.
And that means that instead of that every input user should start on blank page, you can set this from centrally or as admin user and say that I would like to create a data set,
a proposal
based on historical data set. So in this case, we can say, okay, I would like to make a proposal based on actuals and sales quantity, for example. So the input user will then see a Drive-based model that's been populated with expected sales quantity based on last year.
Right. So you get a head start. Instead of having a blank new budget round, you get historical value, an uplift of something. You say you're going to sell 5% more in this region or whatever, and that's the starting point where they can start adjusting.
Yeah, and you can also add adjustment factors. So last year, but increase with 5%, for example.
Exactly. So that's a good way to get started and get the budget or forecast round running.
Back to the Drive-based modeling setup, you can also select different columns. So you have different dimensions. We have 14 total today. You can name them based on the model, and you can select which dimensions you should use in each module. You can also select different columns for historical values, either from a fixed setup, or you can create columns based on what you like to see.
Okay.
Assumptions is something also that you can set up in as an admin user. So you can say, okay, sales price for different products should be X, Y, and Z. Then you have the output here. So you can say, I would like to have a distribution key. So maybe product X, you don't sell much of skis, for example.
Yeah.
You don't sell skis in summertime, so you want to have a distribution key that says nothing is being sold during the summer months.
You have the total, but it's going to be distributed like
exactly.
This. Yeah.
And then you have
that's the bridge.
The bridge, where you do the mapping between measures and financial results or accounts. Yeah.
You can see that could be different department, different country, maybe different accounts. It could be your local accounts.
Yeah.
So depending on. Yep.
Yeah, and then it's possible to set up auto transaction. So we can see on this module, for example, here. I changed the model now, but this is the basic consulting module we looked at. Here we say that based on FTE, I want 350 kroners in this example to be mapped to employee telephone expense. So each month there's going to be a automatically auto transaction on this account based on number of FTEs.
Yeah, and that you can build up. You have salespeople, you have cars with salespeople. You can have multiple things that is linked to this driver or this specific thing that you just this is gonna just be add on. You don't have to remember it. So, and the whole thing with drive-based model is to make simple for the input user. So if you do a new forecast for this quarter, you go in, you have what was done originally in the budget, for example, and the only thing you need to do is to go into the drive-based model or the input and say, okay, is this still valid or do I need to change it? And that's it. And then you kind of do the recalculation of any auto transaction, everything. And that it doesn't become the organization headache to do this exercise. You can do it quite quickly. And it's something they probably have in their finger anyway when it comes to knowing these numbers, because that's what that's the business.
And then you also have this linked models, or you can do the cascading model setup. So based on one assumption, it's going to be transferred to another model. From one model, it's going to be transferred to the next model. Okay. So this is the Drive-based setup. Again, back to the plan overview, you will see all the different transactions being mapped to this P&L. And in the end, you will also get a full future general ledger based on the input in this P&L and financial assumption that's been defined in another workbook that we're not going to touch into today.
No, we're not going to be too much, but it is important to understand that it's a full general ledger. So it's not just a P&L. We do based on financial settings, so forth, payment terms, when VAT is going to be paid, taxes, and all that stuff is taken in the background and being automatically calculated, and you get your actual transactions. So one input here could generate thousands or even millions of transactions of the future. So then you can have your balance sheet and cash flow.
Exactly.
Good.
And also if you want to have reporting in Power BI, Click, BI tool that your company
your preferred
use. It's possible to that's part of the standard functionality that you get all your data, financial transactions, dimensions.
Do I own my own data?
You own your own data. You don't have to pay for it.
That's
it's
not
part
bad.
of the solution. But also the different measures used in Drive-based models, assumptions can be transferred or exported and then transferred to your selected BI solution. So just an example here in Power BI where you have some dashboard. You can see soon. There it is. You can see that P&L based on your budget. You can compare with actuals. You can also see the cash flow. That's again being generated based on the P&L's input.
So just an example as sets of Power BI reports that is just a standard export from us, but you can obviously build your own reports. So these are examples.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Then we are on time, so that's good. Back to the PowerPoint.
So how long does it take to get this in place?
Yeah, so standard solution is not we say we don't implement, we configure it, because it's the solution is ready. The setup is ready to just get information based on a company's operational activities. It's more like a framework. Drive-based model is one framework, but the whole solution is a framework. So we need just to adapt the solution to the different business or companies.
And what we went through today, the Driverbased model is probably where we spend most of our time to understand the business and learn them as part of the implementation and configuration is just to train the super user to how to build their models so they can maintain it themselves.
Exactly.
So
we standard implementation project, we say 100 hours. So it can be less based on how
many models, for example,
many users or drive-based models or models, input models the customer wants, but also how available admin users are in the setup. Because what we want is that the admin user are able to do to handle or run the solution on their own after the project is
we'll be there to help, but
it's
not the point to be there in their organization.
Yeah, exactly. So 100 hours, but can be less, can be more, based on how different aspects in the company setup, customer setup. Yeah.
Was that the last?
One more?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So what's our vision for our CFO platform? We want to be the one solution that actually builds on top of the ERP system. We're never going to be an ERP system. The transactional system that you have or multiple ERP system you have, that's fine. But we want to be the bridge and the overbuild for all the activities that the CFO have on their table. And they are getting more and more. So anything from sustainability to security instruments to multiple things. And we have a quite good coverage today. And part of the Hypergene group, we are extending that as we did with the acquisition of Escali. So by buying into a CFO platform, you will be able to both running what we just looked at today as part of the budgeting and forecasting, but also addressing some of the other activities. And the good thing about having that in one solution is that the integration is already probably in place. You have a lot of the data. If you're going to do salary adjustment, you still have the HR data from the HR system as part of a planning process, and you can do salary adjustment or other type of activities that you run today, as an example. So that's what we're here. That's what we're trying to achieve to have that one additional solution. I think that's.
One more questions.
Do we have questions? So we give it I don't see any questions still, but
if someone have question, you can send it to us after the.
So, but if you're quick now you have the chance to do a quick question. If somebody has it. If we wait, do we have any other things on the Driverbased model?
Nothing.
That's
the last slide.
That's the last slide. Then thank you, Jon, for presenting Driverbased model. I hope quite a few of people didn't know exactly what Driverbased model was. I hope they got more insight and how we saw Driverbased model in as part of the budgeting and forecasting process.
Because that's important. This is just one part of the whole solution.
So there's another total. This is an important part, though, to do, but it's part of a larger budgeting and forecasting solution. So if anybody want to know more, just let us know. We have a book a demo or on the page here. So let us know, and we will run through. No commitments, obviously. So other than that, I just want to wish everybody a great day and hope to hear from you.
Bye.